Wales appealed to world leaders to take bold action on global warming rather than just talking about it. The Prince also acknowledged the efforts of climate change activists to spread their message, but says actions like blocking roads aren't helpful.
This was a sort of rather empty field that the farm didn't need anymore. So I thought, And the great thing was I managed to plant it the same year that my grandson was born, the eldest, George.
It's a legacy and inheritance for your grandchildren. How worried are you about the state of that inheritance?
Deeply worried. I've always felt that we're somehow trained to believe that nature is a separate thing from us and we can just exploit and control and suppress everything about her without suffering the consequences.
The narrative has changed. You know, lots of the things that you said are now mainstream.
It's taken far too long.
World leaders are gathering in Glasgow to talk about the kind of issues that you were...
Yeah, but they just talk. And the problem is to get action on the ground, which is what I've been trying to do for the last 40 years.
What about the people who protest? What about kind of Extinction Rebellion? Do you understand why they go out and disrupt the streets?
Yes, but it isn't helpful, I don't think, to do it in a way that alienates people. So I totally understand the frustration. The difficulty is how do you direct that frustration in a way that is more constructive rather than destructive. So people should really notice how despairing so many young are.
Is our government doing enough to make these things happen?
I couldn't possibly comment.
It's true to say that you've got a pretty hefty carbon footprint. It must take a lot of gas to heat a palace.
Yes, yes, but I have tried for a very long time to make sure that the heating is done in a way that is as sustainable as possible. So I've got electric cars, like my old Aston Martin, which I've had for 51 years, runs on, can you believe this, surplus English white wine and whey from the cheese process.
So what would you say to people watching this in terms of diet? Should they be eating less meat?
For years, I haven't eaten meat and fish on 2 days a week. And I don't eat dairy products on 1 day a week.
It's an autumn garden, isn't it?
It's really for autumn colour and a bit of spring. A lot of parts of Britain are just prairie farms. Avenues, because one of the things I've been wanting to do...
Avenues of trees?
Yes, I've been wanting to help plant avenues of trees which could commemorate all the people who've died during this pandemic. In fact, there was a wonderful example in Australia after the First World War when they planted avenues of trees to commemorate all the people who died. When you think what a difference, you know, urban trees make.
The United Nations Secretary-General has urged the Taliban to keep its promise to uphold women's rights. Antonio Guterres says Afghanistan's economy needs full participation to recover and women can play a crucial role. Millions of girls haven't returned to school despite classes resuming for boys last month, while many workplaces remain restricted. The militant group has also named an all-male cabinet.
I am particularly alarmed to see promises made to Afghan women and girls by the Taliban being broken. 80% of Afghanistan's economy is informal, with obviously a preponderant role of women. Without them, there is no way the Afghan economy and society will recover.